Like a groom for his bride, he's coming soon. Every heart will be revealed beneath the moon. Eyes like fire, crown upon his head. The living word returning, just like he said. Every knee will bow, every tongue confess. So let your heart be dressed in righteousness. Are you ready for the King? When the heavens open wide and the angels sing, are you living in his light? When he comes like a thief in the night, oh, are you ready for the King? The trumpet will sound, the dead will rise. Glory of Yah will fill the skies. The Lamb who was slain now forever reigns, and every tear he will wipe away the pain. Behold, I am coming quickly. My reward is with me. These are his words, faithful and true. Don't wait for tomorrow, surrender today. His love will never fade away. Are you ready for the King? When the heavens open wide and the angels sing, are you living in his light? When he comes like a thief in the night, oh, are you ready for the King? Oh, are you ready for the King? Are you ready? The trumpet ring. Are you ready? His kingdom come. Are you ready? Ready for the King?
Shalom, family. I'll upload this song when we're done with the live stream. So, we're going to talk about freedom of speech, y'all. Freedom of speech. Do we even have it now? Because ever since Charlie Kirk has expired, they've been on the warpath against all posts. They're just going around from post to post, seeing what people write. If you write something bad, they try to find out who you are and get you fired. And Donald Trump, many of you may have heard the story of Jimmy Kimmel losing his show because of a joke about Donald Trump. And, they all seem to be that way. If you remember Elon Musk, he's all for freedom of speech until you say something about him. When you say something about him, all of a sudden he'll shut your account down over there on X. So they're not down for freedom of speech. They say it in word only, but they don't mean it. And like I said, I'm waiting for the lawsuits to come because they're going to get an avalanche of lawsuits. And I don't see how you're going to win in court with the Constitution still talking about freedom of speech. But Donald Trump, you're not supposed to say nothing bad about him. Just like when he got booed at the World Cup, he tried to call the media and tell them not to show him getting booed. You know, every president before him, good, bad, negative, press, whatever, it was always out there. People could say what they were disappointed in their president or what they liked about their president. And with Donald Trump, he wants to shut it all down because actually he knows it's all negative. A lot of people are not satisfied with the job that he's doing. A lot of people, even on the right, are upset because he's done things that really messed up their lives, like the farmers. And now you got all of the people, which are mostly white, on public assistance, and they're about to get that slashed. Medicaid and food stamps, all of that's getting slashed. And they have been getting calls, their representatives from their constituents saying Donald Trump's policies are hurting them. So Donald Trump don't want nothing bad said about him. They're trying to shut down all the comments, although Charlie Kirk was a racist, and they're trying to pretend like he wasn't. Oh, he was just political. No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't. The main talking point he had on the college campuses was talking about the Black community. And he absolutely hated Black women. He called all Black women in big positions DEI. And I said, well, those women went to Harvard and Yale and graduated. You're a damn college dropout. How you going to talk down on somebody and you didn't even finish school? He dropped out of community college, y'all. But he's talking about people that went to Yale and went to Harvard and graduated and earned their way into the positions they're in. Unbelievable. So I'm going to let you listen to a lot of the opinions. A lot of people are very upset at what's going on right now, where freedom of speech is now being trampled on. Now, y'all, you may not remember this, but I do. Back when Elon and Donald Trump were still around each other, and it must have been like in the very beginning when they were letting everybody know Elon was going to be doing Doge. Donald Trump said, maybe we'll start looking at what people are putting out there about us on social media. Okay, you know how hard that would be to go from account to account on social media to see who's talking negatively about you? And to me, why is a president so worried about what's being said about him in the media? Shouldn't you be busy being the president? Shouldn't you be busy with getting on with the work of the country? I would think you wouldn't have time to be worried about that, nor would you care if you are really truly doing the work of the president. If I was president, I wouldn't give a rat's behind about what the media is saying. I'm doing my job as the president. I don't know why he can't just focus on what he's supposed to do. That's, to me, when he's focused on the media so much, then you ain't doing nothing. I doubt if he's doing much of a job on a regular basis if you got time to be worried about who's saying what in the media. Unbelievable. The higher up on the food chain you are, the lazier you are. All right, so let me share my screen. so we can get started. I didn't know rich people were so damn sensitive. They got a worse self-esteem than people that got a lot less. This man, he got some paper thin skin. Rich people are a nuisance. They are. They just so overly sensitive. Every damn thing bothers them. Okay. Give me a 1 if you can see my screen. Okay. Thank you, everybody.
Trump's now saying that news outlets aren't allowed to criticize him if they want to keep their broadcast licenses. And saying of the networks they're getting a license, I would think maybe their license should be taken away. It will be up to Brendan Carr. Or with many saying that's a tyrannical thing to even suggest, threaten, or say, and it should be taken as a declaration of war on free speech and the free press. Right, and this comes after Trump's FCC pressured to get Jimmy Kimmel's show canceled. You've even got Russians who are in exile here in America, Canada, and across Europe, all giving dire warnings to Americans right now. Right, they're basically screaming to Americans that this is exactly what Putin did. He forced the comedians off the air, then he came for the news, movies, TV shows until he controlled the media, and now no one hears a negative thing about Putin. Right? And because Putin controls the media, he can basically do whatever he wants, like rig elections and disappear critics, because who's going to know? And you're seeing more and more people saying America, the land of the free, supposedly, is under attack by Trump, who's trying to do the same thing. You know, with that, I say, listen, like, this is not about Democrats versus Republicans, or at the very least, it shouldn't be. And that's how, unfortunately, a lot of people are framing it. But if he's going down this road, that's Trump using party divisions to keep us divided while he ends up chaining us both. This is about the government versus the people and our right to free speech. All while, like, if you just want a taste of how stupid and grim our situation is, there's now a gold statue of Trump on the National Mall. You know, right now, I think the most effective thing you can do is tell your friends, your families, your coworkers, your neighbors, anyone who will listen about what's happening. People need to know about what looks like an attempt to strip us of our rights. Most people have no idea or don't truly understand where this is going to go. But hey, for now, while you still can, follow to stay in the loop.
The Trump administration is openly threatening to take away the broadcast license from news stations in America who say anything Donald Trump doesn't like. Horrific development today. Brendan Carr, who's the chairman of the Federal Communications Commission, threatened ABC, the entire network, which includes ABC News, over a comment by a comedian. And the strangest part is what the comedian said was true, and it wasn't harsh. I'm going to read you this from CNN. The FCC's Trump-aligned chairman on Wednesday threatened to take action against Disney and ABC over Jimmy Kimmel, the comedian's, recent comments about Charlie Kirk's suspected killer. During his Monday evening monologue, Kimmel suggested Kirk's killer, alleged killer, Tyler Robinson, might have been a pro-Trump Republican. Quote, the MAGA gang is desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them, and doing everything they can to score political points from it. In between the finger pointing, there was grieving. Actually, CNN got it wrong. That comment is not trying to suggest he was MAGA. All that comment said was they are doing everything they can to point the finger at Democrats. That is true. It's simply true. Well, in response, the Brendan Carr, the Republican chairman of the FCC, says the comments were the sickest conduct possible. Again, simply told the truth, and it wasn't really a mean truth at all. Sickest comment possible. He suggested the FCC could move to revoke ABC's affiliate license as a way to force them to punish the comedian. We can do this the easy way or the hard way, he said. These companies can find ways to change conduct and take actions on Kimmel, or there's going to be additional work for the FCC ahead. He just ordered them to fire a comedian, or the government was going to come down on the station, because the comedian made a comment that wasn't a joke, that simply observed that the Republicans were trying to do anything they could to paint the killer as a Democrat, which is true. It doesn't get more dangerous than this. They are trying to control the media. They're trying to control culture. They're trying to control everything. You, me, threatening to take away the jobs of anybody who even said anything, who even posted quotes of Charlie Kirk, just his quotes. They've gotten people fired from the Washington Post and elsewhere. They are trying to put the fear in every American that if you do not agree with them, If you do not say something in line with their political views, if you disagree at all, you will be punished, you will be destroyed, your business will be destroyed, your job will be destroyed.
Yeah.
That is not America, it is not American, it is not democracy. There are words for it. They don't like when we use those words. There are words for it. This is incredibly dangerous what is taking place right now. Barack Obama said that today about the incredible danger our country faces right now, and President Obama is correct.
Are you guys really going to obey in advance for the coming silencing of free speech in America? The only reason this intimidation tactic can work is if enough people stay silent. Every single person that speaks out against genocide and totalitarianism represents another fire that this administration has to put out. We have to create a brush fire in this country. And that means getting in rich and powerful people's faces, people that are complicit, Democrats, Republicans, world leaders alike, and screaming at them, making them feel not necessarily scared, but ashamed wherever they go. And that is what your power is, right? These people don't want to live behind their ivory walls. We have to mock the rich and the powerful. This is our power. I'm so serious. And the more people that do it, the more the powerful will think twice about censoring speech, about giving unlimited arms sales to Israel. You think you're powerless, but there are so many of us. America is massive. And don't operate out of fear. That is what they want. That is what all this is about. That is what it's about, silencing voices online, getting people fired. They can't keep the boot on the neck if there's 10,000 necks. So be courageous and speak out. Please.
We have some big news right now. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has told his staff to identify and find military members and any individual associated with the Pentagon and the Department of Defense who have mocked or appeared to condone Charlie Kirk's killing so that they can be punished, according to latest NBC News reporting. Several service members have already been relieved of their jobs due to social media posts made about Kirk. This comes as the United States State Department is actively reviewing the status of visas for foreigners who made light of Kirk's death. And also as a number of people across the country, from teachers to journalists to media commentators to personnel for an NFL football team, have been fired for social media posts associated with Kirk's death. These firings are likely only to continue across the federal government, but also in private companies as well. Spread the word so more people know. I'll continue to do a full breakdown of this and more on my Substack, link in bio. Subscribe for free. And as always, follow along for all the news you need.
This administration has initiated the largest assault on the First Amendment and free speech in modern history. They're making comedy illegal. Brendan Carr pressured ABC to cancel Jimmy Kimmel, and Disney cancels Jimmy Kimmel. This canceling from an administration that lectured us about cancel culture. That's why today I'm introducing a motion to subpoena Brendan Carr, to bring him in front of this committee, to stop the intimidation of private businesses and to stand up for the First Amendment. Now, it's not just Brendan Carr. Attorney General Pram Bondi is prosecuting hate speech, even though hate speech is constitutionally protected. And even though we've had so many lectures from my friends on the other side of the aisle not to prosecute hate speech. And then what about our vice president, the champion of free speech, as he told us during the campaign? The vice president is telling Americans to snitch on fellow Americans who have offensive posts and to call their employers so they can be fired. And the vice president is threatening to prosecute political organizations that he disagrees with. Look, we are Article 1 of the Constitution, not footlackeys for Donald Trump and J.D. Vance. It is time that we stand up for our constitutional role to defend the freedoms of Americans. People are tired of us just giving our power to Donald Trump and J.D. Vance. We have an obligation to our Constitution, not to Donald Trump and J.D. Vance as they ride roughshod over the First Amendment. So, in the name of all those who are being censored in Washington, D.C. and around the country, in the name of all those who are being intimidated in Washington, D.C. and around the country, in the name of Americans, Republicans, Independents, and Democrats who believe in the First Amendment and free speech, I motion today to subpoena Brendan Carr and to have him explain to the American people why he's bullying private individuals and private businesses.
Pam Bondi now says that the government will target those who espouse hate speech, right? And that, as Trump appeared to suggest this morning, that the hate speech they'll be targeting is speech that criticizes him. And all this is, one, legal experts have made clear that hate speech is free speech and that it's protected by the First Amendment, saying you have a right to be rude, to be disgusting, to offend, to be hateful, and to say things that others don't want to hear. And in fact, a man who believed that was Charlie Kirk himself, right? A man the Trump administration appears to try to be using right now to justify this. With Kirk tweeting last year, hate speech does not exist legally in America. There's ugly speech, there's gross speech, there's evil speech, and all of it is protected by the First Amendment. Keep America free. But also, very importantly, it's not hate speech to criticize the president. The president is not a protected class, right? In all of this, it's playing out as Trump has filed a $15 billion lawsuit against the New York Times for defamation, with Trump pointing to more than a dozen articles and books that he claims falsely portray him as being dishonest, and as a result, caused him damage to his professional and occupational interests. And so now it appears it'll be on Trump to prove that the New York Times is wrong about him being honest, and he must also prove that they did it maliciously and that they caused him actual harm and damage. Well, given that Trump won re-election, you have many saying it's going to be hard for him to prove any of that, right? And all of this is Trump appeared to be saying that he's not so sure that people have a right to protest him, right? And that is last week, Trump was face-to-face with protesters in a D.C. restaurant. He also ordered Bondi to investigate them because he says he wants them thrown in jail. You also had Pam Bondi saying last night that it's illegal for people to refuse to print posters for Charlie Kirk's vigils, which appears to not, in fact, be illegal, or with the Supreme Court ruling time and time again that the government can't compel you to create work that violates your values. And right now, it does seem like Trump and his administration are trying to take away free speech away from people, but they should ultimately fail, right? Because the only way they can win is if you believe them and you cave by self-censoring. Your rights, at least for now, have not changed. So follow to stay in the loop.
And we're here. So now your freedom of expression in the United States of America has now came down to your political affiliation. That's what it's down to now. Obviously, you could see it playing out in front of you. Your freedom of expression, your free speech, is now limited to your political affiliation in the United States of America. You see what's happening in front of you. So now you cannot speak about things that you see happening in society without repercussions of getting fired from your job. This is where America is. And let me say thanks to the people in England who protest this regime visit to England. And shame on King Charles. No wonder why Harry left the royal family. Shame on King Charles for rolling out the red carpet for these dangerous people. Big shame on King Charles. Okay, so now let's get back on track. The freedom of expression, and thanks to the people of England, by the way, like I said earlier, who protested them. Great job, well appreciated. Freedom of speech in America is hanging by a thread, right? And what they're thinking is that they somehow are making examples of some very prominent and big name people in this country that just merely voice their the way they see things while at work. They saw something and they spoke about what they saw. It has nothing to do with promoting violence, has nothing to do with, you know, nothing to do with that bullshit. They just spoke about what they saw happen. And they were fired from their jobs. This is where America is right now. And some people are still asleep in the back and think you're safe. You're in imminent and clear danger. One lady in England called him a madman. I've been told you that in previous videos. This person is deranged. He is deranged, a deranged madman. Okay? More people are going to get fired from their jobs for speaking their opinion, voicing their opinions. And it's going to keep happening and happening and happening. What the MAGA regime is doing, they're building up tension in the public. That's what they're doing. They're building up tension. They think they're doing a great, oh, let's fire this person, fire that person. Keep firing people for speaking about things that they see. You're building up tension. But let me tell you this. When that tension unleashes, it's going to unleash. When that tension releases and unleashes, it will be something that's never been witnessed in the history of America. And it's fixing to come pretty soon. Understand? People are now in a chokehold about what and who they can speak about publicly. It comes down to political affiliation and in favor of who do you speak. That's what it's down to. These are some dangerous times. Very, very dangerous times. Okay? Stay safe out there. Peace.
Free speech is dead. It's now costly speech. The wrong words, according to the Trump administration, get you sued, doxxed, fired, arrested, and or deported. They're not free speech absolutists. They're free speech terrorists. They'll defend the Second Amendment to the death, but the First Amendment be damned. They want to control our schools, libraries, museums, government workers, scientists, statisticians, reporters, TV stations, social media platforms, and our elections because their policies are hurting our country, our economy, and our world. And the corruption is out of control. Let's see what's on Don Jr., Eric's, and Jared's computers. They screamed about cancel culture. Now they're canceling our Constitution. I say, let's cancel corruption, cancel cronyism, cancel capitulation, cancel complicity, and cancel fucking censorship. Do you agree?
I'm sorry. So now the party of free speech no longer allows free speech? So now the party of free speech is now firing people for speaking freely. Is it? It's not making sense. It's actually not making any sense. While I don't agree with people saying terrible things about certain things, it's still freedom of speech, no? Or I don't make it make sense because I think that that's what it is. It's still freedom of speech, no matter, just because you don't like it, right? Or no, you guys are not the party of freedom of speech. You guys are the party of hypocrisy. Because when it comes to that side, you guys want to be allowed to say whatever the fuck it is you want. But then the other side, if you don't like it, you get mad and you say they're fired. It just doesn't make sense. We are truly living in the Twilight Zone. So, I mean, I don't, I'm sorry. I'm a little, doesn't make sense. So here we are. Speak free, but don't speak about me. Then it's not free. What the fuck are y'all cuckoo?
thank you for your comment. Freedom of speech is very important. I haven't seen anything that Donald Trump has hindered that or that could validate the words that you spoke up there. You had the freedom of speech to speak it. You also have the freedom of speech to be wrong, just like I could be wrong. But in open mind, we would want someone to correct us if we are wrong with facts. So how about providing some documents that actually verify that? Do not confuse freedom of speech and the wisdom not to threaten somebody who may differ your opinion, because that would not be freedom of speech problem. That would be an evil, vile problem. So anybody that rejoices in the loss of anybody's breath on earth, that would be vile. This is not a political thing. This is a heart condition thing. So somebody's life was taken in an evil, vile act. We don't condone that. We don't rejoice in that. And anybody that does would be considered evil and vile. So if somebody's promoting that, they're letting you know that if you ever differed from their opinion, what they think about your life, we do not promote that. Freedom of speech is still intact, but threats are still against the law. We do not threaten people. It should never take place. And like I said, this is not a political issue. This is a condition of a heart issue. In a civilization, you should be able to speak to one another civilly, even if you have a difference of opinion. You have a wonderful day. And please, as I said, if you've got anything that will validate your words there, I would love to see it. Have a great day.
What we're witnessing feels like the death of free speech in America. What's happening now, from federal pressure on broadcasters to the silencing of late night hosts to the threat of prosecution for words spoken, has sent a chilling effect through everyone who makes a living speaking into this here microphone.
This is a sad day. It is unprecedented. It is un-American, and I believe it's dangerous. This isn't just about Jimmy Kimmel or Stephen Colbert. This is about whether people like us, G and I, people who talk for a living, can still do our jobs without government or political power telling us what we can and what we cannot say. And I would argue that that should scare everybody.
Cowardice fascists and billionaires have done it. They are starting the erosion of free speech, and all autocracies, all dictatorships, they start with comedians. It might seem like it's not that big of a deal, but it is a big effing deal, you guys. Seth, let's start with the first tweet. Midas Touch is reporting that ABC has pulled Jimmy Kimmel Live off the air indefinitely following comments he made in the wake of Charlie Kirk's murder. Now, that's the excuse they're using, all right? Trump's FCC chair, Brendan Carr, earlier appeared on MAGA propagandist Benny Johnson's show and threatened to revoke ABC and Disney's broadcast licenses if they didn't take action against Kimmel. This is not cancel culture. This is coercion. This is bullying. This is a direct attack on free speech. And let's just see what this comment is. What did Jimmy Kimmel say that has the rubes and the cowardice billionaires so riled up? Play the clip.
Some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it. In between the finger pointing, there was grieving. On Friday, the White House flew the flags at half staff, which got some criticism. But on a human level, you can see how hard the president is taking this.
My condolences on the loss of your friend Charlie Kirk. May I ask, sir, personally, how are you holding up over the last day and a half, sir?
I think very good. And by the way, right there, you see all the trucks. They just started construction of the new ballroom for the White House, which is something they've been trying to get, as you know, for about 150 years. And it's going to be a beauty.
Yes. He's at the fourth stage of grief, construction. Demolition, construction. This is not how an adult grieves the murder of someone he called a...
Okay, this is what's important to understand about strong men. They have very thin skin, and a way that their reputation of being so strong and they're just such great guys gets eroded by comedians making these casual jokes. It's very obvious here that Kanks could have given two shits about this whole thing. This is MAGA's Reichstag fire. That's what this is. They are using this to erode civil rights, and they are saying, you can't call us fascists. You can't call us fascists. You started this. The fact of the matter is they are fascists, and this is a fascist move that dictators use, and it cannot stand in the United States of America. Period. These billionaires are cowards. They are bending over for this weak, demented man who could give two shits about Charlie Kirk getting shot. He's way more into his ballroom.
My thought was, what did Jimmy Kimmel say that wasn't true? Where was the lie? The reality is Donald Trump was asked how he was doing, and he talked about his ballroom. Those are facts. If the right wing's going to be mad at Kanks.
Well, it really, he has been gunning. Kanks has been gunning for comedians for a very long time because he is such a weak person. He is not self-deprecating. He can't laugh at himself. And we could all sit around and praise him. Everybody in this country, everybody in the world, and he would still be broken, which leaves me to the question, why are these billionaires obeying? The number one rule to fighting this is you don't obey in advance. And when this gets taken to the courts, you guys, it's undefeated. But these billionaire corporations are playing the short-term game. If you think there might not be an economic impact in this, you're mistaken. Once you start eroding civil rights and you start eroding the courts, investors flee, the currency falls, and we're already starting to see this happen.
So let me get this straight. Jimmy Kimmel's show was just canceled by ABC. Stephen Colbert's show was canceled by Paramount, and PBS is being defunded, all because this programming has said things that piss off MAGA, the self-proclaimed party of fuck your feelings. So I guess they only mean fuck your feelings until their own feelings get hurt.
Breaking news. Trump just made a chilling statement. He says no TV network should be allowed to speak ill of him, and if they do, they should face consequences. That's not a slip of the tongue. That's a direct attack on the role of a free press. The president is essentially saying criticism should come with punishment. That flips the First Amendment on its head. And it's not just theory. Look at what just happened to Jimmy Kimmel. He didn't threaten anyone. He didn't spew hate speech. He simply pointed out how the right was exploiting Charlie Kirk's death. Within days, his show was pulled off air by affiliates, and Trump praised it. Regulators even hinted that networks who don't fall in line could face scrutiny. This is how free speech erodes. Not with one law, but with intimidation, with fear, with pressure, until people censor themselves. So here's the real question. If a late-night host on a major network can be silenced for mild criticism, what chance do regular people have when they speak out at work, online, or in their communities? Freedom of speech was designed to protect dissent, even unpopular dissent. If power gets to decide which speech is acceptable, then freedom doesn't exist. Do you see this as accountability or authoritarianism? Drop your thoughts in the comments and follow for more breaking updates they don't want you to hear.
Wow, we finally found the thing that unites Americans, and guess who it is? Pam Bondi. It turns out that virtually no one in America likes her or her position on free speech. Who would have thunk it?
Disaster for Pam Bondi, and therefore I'm Donald Trump. I'm just going, what the heck is going on here? You know, take a look here. Weekly Google searches for free speech. Get this. Up like a rocket, up 186% versus the 5-year average. I went back and looked at every single week. More folks are searching for free speech this week on Google than any week in at least 5 years. And of course, not surprisingly, who's the top trending topic with free speech? Well, it's Pam Bondi, of course. People are taking her comments, looking it up, interested in it. And as you saw from that Wall Street Journal editorial, they ain't liking it too much from the left to the right. Take a look here. The net popularity of Trump cabinet members. Look who has the lowest number on your screen right here that I could find. Look how far underwater Pam Bondi is at minus 19 points. Now, none of the folks on your screen here are in positive territory, but none of them are as far underwater as Pam Bondi at minus 19 points. Of course, RFK Jr. has been in the news recently, too, but he's well above where Pam Bondi is. He's at minus 7 points. She is more than 10 points more underwater than RFK Jr. is. She is, at least by the numbers that I'm looking at, the least liked member of Donald Trump's cabinet, and it ain't even close.
I mean, ouch. Turns out the American people really don't like someone who, first of all, continues to cover up for rich and powerful men who are sex traffickers, and then second of all, comes after the most cherished right in America, our constitutional right to freedom of speech. When you come after that, well, it turns out Americans can agree
to agree on how much we do not like this particular member of the Trump administration. Oh, and by the way, if I can save you the Google search, here you go. I'm so glad to know that everyone in America wants to keep this right around. Don't you love it when we all come together like this?
All right, folks, a lot to discuss tonight. This Jimmy Kimmel story is not going away. In fact, it may just be the beginning. First of all, you had the FCC chairman, Brendan Carr, all over television today saying this is not the end, that they have more up their sleeves in terms of shaping the media environment. Then, if you thought that was enough, President Trump said even more explicitly that he thinks that television channels should lose their FCC licenses if they say things critical or disparaging of him. So, where does this all go for the country? Do we even believe in free speech anymore? Well, there's actually a surprising quote from a Republican congressperson who suggests that maybe it might be time to move away from the First Amendment. So much to discuss tonight on Newsnight. I'll see you at 10 o'clock.
What's so crazy is how people are getting arrested for their freedom of speech just because they said F Mr. Kirk. I don't want to say the full name, but just because they said F Mr. Kirk. Meanwhile, I seen a man literally get lynched out on the street, literally got beat up by like 30 plus people, 30 plus neo N-words. I seen him get mauled like dogs was on him, and the police ain't do nothing but put him in handcuffs and take him away. And then I see a black woman at a school. She was saying F Charlie Kirk, or I don't know if it was a school or what. I think it was a school, but she was saying F Charlie Kirk and got arrested for it, and they claim harassment. It's so crazy how our freedom of speech is being censored and taken away. It doesn't make any sense at all. But meanwhile, these people can cause, harm to others and violently attack others, all because of speech. I don't think to be honest, we've never lived in America. I don't think we live in America anymore, bro. I don't think America stands for what it used to stand for anymore. And that's the First Amendment. The amendments. A lot of this stuff is literally being stripped away right in front of our eyes. We got to do something about this. This is serious.
Okay, there's a couple of things that come to mind for me. Number one, let's be real, because there's a lot of Republicans that are upset about the freedom of speech just withering away, but y'all voted for this. Y'all voted Donald Trump back into office. You voted this 34 felon back into office. And you think you can trust anything he says? And y'all, I did see that young woman. She was a sister. And on her college campus, she got arrested for saying F Charlie Kirk. Not only did she get arrested, the party left out, the school let her go. She got kicked out of college just for that. That's why I'm telling y'all the lawsuits are coming, and it's going to be some big payouts on these lawsuits. You can't have a constitution in place saying you have freedom of speech, and then on the other hand, you're firing people for that very thing. And Donald Trump wants everybody shut down that says something negative about him, which is very unrealistic. So, all the people that are losing your jobs, I sure hope y'all are lawyering up, because you certainly do have a case. So I don't know how they're going to win up against the Constitution in court. Look, YouTube tried to get me on several occasions for hate speech. But the bottom line is I was able to defeat them twice in small claims court, you know? And plus they always try to tack that onto us and act like any speech that come from white people online is perfectly fine and they're within their rights. Well, you can play that game if you want, but in a court of law, you ain't gonna win. As long as that First Amendment is in place, you're not gonna win. I'm a living testament to that. You're not gonna win. A court can't look at me and say, well, the free speech is only for those white people, not for you. They can't look me in the face and say that. As long as that Constitution doesn't spell that out, then you can't hang hate speech over my head. And a couple of times they tried to do it, and both times they failed. You can't hang that over somebody's head. But see, the people that get stuck with it, they get stuck with it because they don't challenge it. I challenged it. And many people, if they would just try, just try to challenge it, you can actually win. A month ago, they tried to put a strike on my channel. I got the strike taken off. I challenged it and they had to take it off. It was only on for about 10 days and they had to take it off. And so, to my brothers and sisters out there with channels, make sure you challenge anything they throw up in your face. The bottom line, they really don't want us on YouTube at all. If they could make YouTube white only, they would do it in a heartbeat. They would. And could expel all of us off, they would. That's why we're all shadow banned. Every last one of us are shadow banned. Is that a coincidence? Everybody with melanin is shadow banned. Let's just say it all. We're all shadow banned. Every last one of us. And how is it that I got 165,000 subscribers and I got videos with 3,000 views? It's because they're hiding me. And I know why they're doing it to me. They're butt sore that I took their asses to court twice and won twice. So I know why they do it to me. But you think that's going to stop me from coming on here? Hell no. I don't care. If it goes down to 100 views, I'm going to still come on here and do what I need to do. It's not going to stop me one bit. I would be stupid to give in to them. Anybody would be. So Donald Trump and Elon and MAGA and all these people are now trampling on everybody's freedom of speech, and they're glorifying Charlie Kirk and trying to make us believe that he didn't do the things that he did. Now, y'all, it's so bad. If you take his video and get the quote directly out of his mouth, they are still getting you fired over that. And I was listening to a couple of debates online over Charlie Kirk. You know what these MAGAs are doing? Denying everything he said that was racist. So if you say, he was quoting those false crime stats on the Black community, he never did that. He didn't do that. He always talked about no fathers in the home in the Black community. Oh, he didn't say that. You took that out of context. That's the kind of stuff they're doing, y'all. That's the kind of stuff they're doing. So they're trying to gaslight us and act like he didn't say what he actually did say. That's what they're going around doing now. So, it is what it is. But a lot of people are now raising an issue about freedom of speech now. So, y'all, thank you for coming. I'm going to conclude. I'm going to be doing Chicago again, but Donald Trump pulled the National Guard away from Chicago and they're going to Memphis instead. So I will be going live on that in about 2 hours. So I hope that you can all come back and, and we can get into that topic as well. Shalom, family.